So, I haven't made a video in a while. A lot of life changes, personal issues, and making sure I don't get martyred. But I wanted to make this particular video on this particular topic because of my point in research and just seeing how far um, the Gnostic movement is going to take place, especially when Uh, I'm basically like really far down the rabbit hole. Like it's insane how far I've came down and studied all these mystical texts that's been removed from the Bible thanks to the Roman Catholic Church and the, you know, supposed extermination of the Gnostics. Just Council of Nicaea and Roman Catholic Church. They don't have anything on Gnostics. They really don't. Because stuff like this needs to be talked about. There's people right now talking about the end times and, supposed rapture happening September 23rd, 25th, I forgot. But, so this video topic is Baal the Demiurge. So, in the context of the Gnostic texts, there's a huge difference between Sabaoth and Yaldabaoth. So Sabaoth is the son of Yaldabaoth, and couple videos ago, I haven't made a video in such a long time. It was discussed that I think I went into it like Satan kinda can use the name Yahweh, like it's not a far-fetched, subject. People are starting to realize the God of the Old Testament is kind of satanic, with a lot of stuff, and they, even Orthodox Christians, some Catholics, I've heard that just questioning the God of the Old Testament, they like to separate it from the God of the New Testament. But, see, the thing is with, saying Yahweh is Satan, and the God of the Old Testament is Satan as well. There's Baal in the mix too, because you have Baal, Beelzebub, and Lord of the Flies. That's where all that comes from. And you know, my name, which is Elijah, means my God Yahweh. So that would mean oh, what's going on here? Because Yahweh and Baal, are they both demons? You know, from a Gnostic interpretation, how can we determine that? Would Gnosticism be considered a heresy if you call Yahweh the Demiurge? This would scare a lot of people away probably from Gnosticism itself, but Sabaoth in a Gnostic cosmology just changes the whole game, because Sabaoth, being the son of Yaldabaoth, is also called the Lord of Hosts. So when you put that in the mix, it kind of creates this diaphragm of just what was going on with the Old Testament, and just who is the satanic, not who is, but just there's lack of, so it causes a lot of freaking confusion. That's the best way I can put it. I deciphered it, but it took a very long time. I mean, you just, when you're combining, in not even you, I mean, there's a lot of Gnostics now that are reading the Holy Bible, and then they're putting the Gnostic Gospels together. There's, I don't know, your reality basically changes. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. I mean, you just realize why the Roman Catholic Church didn't even want these Gnostic, they just deemed them as heretics Kind of similar to how, the Pharisees probably saw Jesus. Like, it was like, oh, Jesus is possessed by Baal, which is ironic. The Pharisees just, they thought Jesus was a warlock, in a sense. And the Roman Empire, they just completely eradicated Gnostic Christianity. I mean, they just martyred all of them. And just books burned, Library of Alexandria gone. And when you think of the concept of Baal being the demiurge, it would make sense in the context of, the wild animal world that we live in on a daily basis. Sentient organisms feeding on other sentient organisms. Like, a good god creating a world like that just never made sense to me when I was even growing up in church, but like it was kind of the awareness that I got as I grew up, especially 18, 19, 20, 21. Is like, oh, you know, humans aren't that different from the animals. They say like, human sin is the problem that separates us from God, which I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not a Christian, but it just went back to the other points that I made before. What about the animals? Like, there's just so much suffering in the animal kingdom, and just the way that animals are designed, it's like they are designed to eat each other. Like, they're just the way everything is designed. It's just we're created in the image of God, but the thing is with like duality and just all of that, the Gnostic perspective kind of leads to truths that, you know, maybe don't have the best interests of certain groups. Just there's one that starts with a Z. I'm not even gonna name yet, but synagogue of Satan, in the New Testament, kind of points to what I'm talking about with that. But yeah, is Baal the demiurge? Well, let's look at Baal, and I'm doing this orally. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just going based off of just what I researched and everything. I have a gift that's like from my biological dad. I can kind of recite things orally or just have talking points. It's most of my videos are like rambling, but Baal is like the Lord of Flies, a god of sacrifice. A lot of Astor theology equates him to Saturn. Um, he is basically just like just a storm god. Uh, I mean, it's just a name. Take me out to a ball game. Like the Freemasons just make it very, apparent that they worship Baal and Siaga. Like if you're just looking at like, stuff that kind of happened a couple months ago, I would say maybe a year. There was a lot of people equating Baal and Siaga to Baal. And funny part is, it's just like Baal is Satan or is like an evil force in all three Abrahamic religions, which is very ironic. Judaism, Islam, and Orthodox Christianity. Like there's just like a force to be reckoned with, I guess. I mean, like you have the Israelites, you know, basically sacrificing their kids in the Old Testament to Baal, giving themselves to demons, and Elijah comes and he says, "No, come to Yahweh." But the name Yahweh, and then the Gnostic cosmology of Sabaoth and Yaldabaoth, it just really changes the game. It really does, because like in the Gnostic cosmology, Sabaoth dethrones his father Yaldabaoth and becomes the god of Israel. So, with that in mind, Yaldabaoth equated to Baal. See, what's going on here? See, like, this, there's a reason I think, like, this stuff was hidden. Like, you just, like, it's crazy. Like, there's just so much we're not being told. And then, you know, I'm, I'll try and make a more professional video on this topic maybe when I, have like a thing set up. I kind of make videos on a whim. I kind of just want to, have like a, like talking points, and then I can like go back to my old videos, whatever I'm gonna end up doing. I'm very disorganized at the moment, but yeah, I mean, yeah, as this picture that I'm gonna put up, some Gnostic interpretations do see Baal as the demiurge, and demiurge is the great architect of the universe. So, in the context of the end times, new heavens and new earth. So, the heavens is equated with um, the universe. That's how the ancients, called the heavens. They called it the space. Even like if you want to say like astral, they equate it with the stars. Like the astral realm and all of that stuff. Like they just equated with the stars. The universe is called the heavens and stuff. Like New Jerusalem or the Pleroma. Not every Gnostic agree that New Jerusalem is the final destination, but Gnostic Christians is like, especially the, servers that I'm in right now, Discord, they consider, and just mainstream Christianity, consider New Jerusalem as the final destination. So, if this world in the end times is going to get fully destroyed and Satan is going to get thrown into the lake of fire for all of eternity, or the demiurge, and then there's going to be a new heavens and new earth, then that means the demiurge, which is Baal, is also the great architect of the physical universe. Because, like I said, the whole physical universe is chaotic. Like it's a mess. Like it's the good and evil duality of how you can view the universe, and just peace, chaos, order, or just like a corrupted world, or say just a product of just Satan, just pain and suffering. The universe is chaotic. The universe is chaotic, dude. Like there's stars exploding and like freaking just supernovas. It's just chaos, and you just think like, dang, did just God just make Lord God of the Genesis chapter 2? He just put Adam and Eve in this chaotic universe, the archons. Like he just, like the like regular Christian perspective is like God just put Adam and Eve in this chaotic universe. Do not eat the knowledge of good and evil. If you do, you will die. And then they found out where they are, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? Like what? Like this, it's like, oh, like this serpent, he gave us wisdom, and like now we found out we're naked, and like, oh, I need to cover up. I'm gonna like there's, and then you have Genesis chapter 1. It's just male and female, and there's Gnostic stuff. There's a bunch of Gnostic studies where I taught where they actually mentioned the original chapter 1 creation, because like in the previous video, Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2 are completely two different stories. Like completely different. So I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, Bel being the demiurge, like the name Yahweh, like could be associated with the beast. There's already videos of completely debunking Yahweh. He's the beast of Revelations, the lion, leopard, bear of Revelations. So with that in mind, Yahweh Bel, Yaldabaoth, and then you have Sabaoth, the real Yahweh, Yahweh Sabaoth. So Satan using the name Yahweh, it just changes the whole game. Orthodox Christians, it could be the Antichrist religion itself. Not saying that every, Christian is like, in the deception of the Antichrist, but let's just say the Antichrist is already here. Like like saying Jesus is Lord can be equated to saying Jesus is Baal, and it's just like that could be Antichrist deception right there, based off of just how you're living, lukewarm Christianity, you know, idolatry, fornication, um, just double-minded thinking. Like a lot of Christians nowadays, not bashing every Christian church, but just when you see mainstream Christianity, it's double-minded. Like Book of James, it says a friend of the world is an enemy of God, but it's just a lot of churches like LGBT. I'm not bashing like, you know, people's decisions, but you reap to the flesh, or yeah, you reap to the flesh, you sow corruption. I was looking at things that kind of discuss like, homosexuality, and it actually is rejected in the Gospel of Judas. I have this on my end times ministry playlist that you can see. But I think a lot of them are more, Gnostic groups are kind of more accepting with them, because some Christians will say, well, LGBT is the Jezebel spirit. But I think the thing is about it kind of takes the blame out of the person of being a homosexual and equate it to the flesh. So he's basically saying the flesh is evil, you know? Like, that's kind of how Gnostics view the flesh. They say the flesh is evil, spirit is good. And when you equate that to the LGBT, it kind of leans like, like, hey, um, we're really not, you know, um, evil. It was just like kind of how you're born. Because even in a psychological, like, not even psychological, there's a study somewhere on the internet you could find where people who are more prone, maybe neurodivergent people, are more prone to um LGBT just lifestyle, and you're just more genetically prepositioned to have homosexual feelings. This can go for both male and female, and that's probably within like neurodivergency. But it's like not everybody has to deal with those type of feelings. Now, Jesus was probably tempted in every way possible, to kill himself, be gay, give into the flesh, basically. He just, it's just all these temptations when he was, had the 40 days and 40 night trial in the desert. But yeah, the point was, is like, yeah, I kind of see even in Gnostic circles they're more accepting, but the perspective that they have is that homosexuality is still a sin, but the flesh is evil, so you can't. It's all about the flesh. Your flesh desires those homosexual feelings instead of your spirit. Your spirit is like good. It's the flesh that's the problem. But the spiritual warfare aspect and the Jezebel spirit, it's somewhat talked about in Gnostic circles, but not as much. The Gnostic Christian movement is slowly rising. I see it's like kind of like a revolution. It's like a it's like a thing that's slowly coming about as we enter deeper into the information age. There's more people that's kind of into astrology, and then you have a side where it's like, no, that's witchcraft. Zodiac signs is forbidden. It's witchcraft, and the topic of witchcraft is already such a huge topic too, with all of this stuff, because witchcraft is, manipulation can be considered a form of witchcraft. And that's already just, just a huge thing. That's what was, you know, that was the spirit of Jezebel. She was a witch. And the New Age movement that is happening now is kind of a reflection of what's going on. People are taking psychedelics. Um, they're getting into they're it's kind of skits. I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of schizo. It just depends on just the person's mental state. There's so much crap in the New Age movement. It's blending of multiple religions, Eastern philosophies, and I mean, information age has its benefits, but yeah, I don't know. There needs to be like some type of like internet hygiene of just how you get your information and whatnot, because there's so much false information too. So you have to cross reference what you look up on the internet and stuff, and it's a jumbled up mess. But I'm just saying, like, the Gnostic Christians, like, they had something going on, because like you proclaim they proclaimed that Jesus was God, and it completely separated Yahweh. But Sabaoth, I was seeing, is actually a subservience. Sabaoth, the Lord of Hosts, in a Gnostic cosmology, is subservient to the unknown God. Now, people like 607 Ankh is like calling this unknown god Abraxas. That was the Basilines, whatever you call them. Their whole thing, because like there's different Gnostic sects. Of course, you got the Valentinians, the Sephians, and then the Basilinians. They just pretty much said Simon got crucified and Jesus was laughing. Like, it's like, y'all crucified Simon. I'm still alive. And that's a whole entire other thing. But yeah, they call that Abraxas, which is crazy because he has the Alpha and Omega shield, and I actually mentioned that in a previous video. He has the Alpha and Omega, so that would already equate him to Sabaoth as well too. See, like, there's just so much that we're just not being told by the church, Christianity, and these early Christianity, and it's for a good reason. It completes the story. The 607 Unk dude that's been trending, as he's not really trending that much now as I'm recording this video, but he was trending in the hip hop community and stuff. And yeah, I mean, he was on crack, not gonna lie, but and I think he went to a public like he went to like a public something, or just said I'm from the Pleroma. Yeah, I don't know. I I don't know what to think of all of that. It could be like some type of psyop to make Gnostic Christianity seem like some type of schizo thing, but I'm telling you, the Nag Hammadi with the Holy Bible, it just changes everything. I did like the whole concept of the Golden Cube of New Jerusalem makes more sense to me, and the Pleroma means fullness of God, fullness in God, and the Jesus mission makes more sense too. So Jesus is basically, his whole ministry is coming down to earth to advertise, not even advertise, he's just telling people about his kingdom. It's New Jerusalem. It's paradise. That's what it basically is at the end of the day. Existence, the purpose of life, existence is paradise. We just have to like understand who Jesus is, what he's doing. Even people like, I think it's like this Asian man that's has the highest IQ, 276. He proclaims that Jesus is God. It's not this Son of God no more, or when it's like God's son is like, oh, God in human flesh. He just says like, yeah, Jesus Christ is God. The Gnostics already said that. The Gnostics been saying, yeah, Jesus Christ is God, or just an emanation of the supreme being, which would be the monad or God the Father, El Elyon. Just it's New Jerusalem. That's the final destination. And if Baal is the demiurge, then Baal is responsible for the physical universe. He created this satanic chaos mess that we're in currently, where sentient organisms are in each other, the universe is in complete chaos, and the world is ran by Zionist Jews. So, which is what is going on with the Charlie Kirk situation. It's just you speak against Israel, you're a target because they're, you know, starving them kids in Gaza, and you can't speak against the Zionist Jews. But the problem with like that is, there's people who I'm gonna have to end this video, but subscribe. Okay, I am back. I had to change rooms for temporarily, but talking point, yeah, Baal and the physical universe. So yeah, I mean, it would make more sense that, Baal, Beelzebub, Satan, like if he's God of this world, lowercase g God, and the Gnostic dualism is that there's a capital G God and then a lowercase g God, God of this world. Yeah, I mean, if Baal is indeed Yahweh, one and the same, like in the book of Hosea, then, Yahweh was saying, you will no longer call me my Baal or husband, then, yeah, I mean, it would make sense. But, just like the last video, this should be just like a talking point within the comments, and just anybody that's interested in Gnosticism, like, this is all like a learning experience even for me. So all I know is Gnostic Christianity makes a lot more sense than the Christianity we're given. Now, not saying that regular Christianity is the Antichrist or Satan, Saturn worship, but many forms of it could indeed be leading up to, if the Revelation prophecy is true, which, I mean, we see it every single day, the one world government, the third temple being built, like, there's just so much that's going to be talked about in the end times if we're near it, which I'll say we are, but yeah, I mean, but, yeah, I can really see it. That's the end of the video. I can put any, like, text that I did, like, before. I don't have any, like, good editing software, just kind of just one picture, but I took in some information from me speaking and stuff. I need to be in a more stable position to make more professional videos. Maybe like those type of videos where it's like text to speech and I'll have my voice here and there. But yep. Thanks for watching.